The stock of the day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
Stock of the day is the retailer KMD Brands, formerly Kathmandu, but does own the Kathmandu and Rip Curl brands. Also ausbiz footwear, recording a 0.5% fall in sales in the first 10 months of FY25. KMD saying its Rip Curl business is performing well, notably in North America, but a fall in sales is attributed to Kathmandu and the ausbiz footwear brands, notably amidst warmer weather. Well, you wouldn't if you're living in Sydney. I don't think you agree with that. But apparently in Victoria, it's been the warmest autumn on record, so that hasn't helped those sales, particularly those Kathmandu jackets. More of a KMD saying US tariffs are expected to have a negative effect on FY25 earnings by about 1 million Kiwi dollars. Chief Executive Brent Scrimshaw saying the group continuing to proactively addressing challenging market conditions to maintain its market share. Shares coming off around 3.5% in response to that update. Zach, retailers, is that a difficult space at the moment? Particularly, look, we just got those jobs numbers out. That's a little lower than expected, but the unemployment rate hasn't really moved. I mean, that's key, isn't it? Yeah. Particularly as far as the economy and what we're seeing with the retail. Yeah, look, we're very selective with it. Just on that, it's funny you said you wouldn't notice that it's been warmer than usual. In fact, if you read the press release, June sales have been really strong for Kathmandu, the more warmer brands. But look, I think you've got to be very careful in this environment. I know I don't think the consumer is falling off a cliff, but I think the consumer expenditure that we want to be exposed to, if you're trying to play this recovery in consumer sentiment, if you're trying to play this recovery in this fiscal support that's coming through in Australia, through tax cuts, housing linked. So, we still like guys who like Temple and Webster. They've got a very specific, and we'll talk about them later on the show as well. Then we like Bunnings. And they're the kind of guys that we think will be the first beneficiary of this. And when someone starts talking about, maintaining or trying to protect or not lose market share, that's a concern. And Kathmandu is a really good actual brand. So I'd be cautious, and I think you'd be very selective of which kind of consumer spending you want to be leveraged to. Kmart's, Bunnings, Temple and Webster, which has got a structural growth story to it, that's where we're focused on. All right, so link to the home away from those footwear and apparel brands then. Yeah, that's our view. Because we saw that update from Accent earlier as well, didn't we? Absolutely. And within the apparel, we'd like Premier Investment Group, but even there, we're being a bit cautious. Yeah, okay. So what would you do with KMD? Look, with this, I think I'd be a neutral, because the Kathmandu brand is a hold. Yeah, it's a hold. Yeah. Okay. Mark, what are you feeling?
Echo those comments really. Lucky this wasn't on the technical episode, because I know what they'd be saying about that downtrend over the last couple of years. You would need, this is it's a turnaround story, just minus the turnaround part. So until it shows any signs of, of stabilising those earnings, and I wouldn't really be looking at it. I think you probably, and I do agree as well, I think, that Kmart brand, is it Anko and things, is, that's a high quality brand. I think they're even investigating maybe shifting and shipping that to the US as well. This wouldn't hold any interest for me. I'd probably prefer to be in cash. I'm even going to say sell. I'd have it on my watch list for a potential bounce if they turn it around. But look, it's just the problem with the ASX doing earnings every 6 months is if they disappoint in the next one, you're stuck in it till February. If you don't get a turnaround story then, or we have a dive in the consumer, then you're stuck in it till this time next year. And I think that capital can be better used elsewhere. So it's not necessarily a reflection on the company, and I think it is probably fairly cheap here. But I can't see it turning around really in the next 12 months. And you can be you could be stuck in this thing, for a long period of time when. I think I'd prefer that structural growth story of Temple and Webster, or of the Bunnings and Kmart brands as well. even something like Lovisa is not too bad either. But I think your money's better put to work elsewhere if you want to be in the retail space.
So we're calling that a sell from you then, a hold and a sell for KMD Brands.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.